Hey guys, welcome to Ayana's DIY Corner. My name is Ayana and again, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I share with you guys DIY tips and tricks to help you personalize your closet and home decor to suit your personality. Now in today's video, it's going to be episode 2 of my week-long series dedicated to those that are ready to start their sewing journey. Now when I started my sewing journey, I wish I knew what I know now, or at least the basic knowledge of what the whole sewing aspect entails. So with all that said, let's get into today's video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the different sewing machine needles and the different stitches you would be exposed to when starting your journey. So let's get into it. Now when it comes to the sewing machine needle, it varies with size and type. I'm going to focus on the size first. So every sewing machine needle comes in different sizes. So for example, you're going to see on the sewing machine packet either 70-10, 80-12, 90-14, 100-16, 110-18. The 70 is the European measurement, while the 10 represents the American measurement. Each size works best with a particular weight of fabric. So for example, the 70-10 and the 80-12 will work well with lightweight fabrics. The 70-10 is more of a delicate type of fabric, like your chiffon or your tulle, that sort of fabrics that are very delicate and you don't want them to get damaged while you're stitching. So that particular size, the needle tip, is made specifically to ensure that you don't snag the fabric. The 80-12 is also for lightweight but not as delicate, so you're looking more at the lightweight cottons and the woven fabrics, things like that, and the wools. That works pretty well with the 80-12. 90-14 is more of the medium side, the medium weight fabric, and you will consider medium weight to be more of your stretchy or your light jeans fabrics, right? Not truly denim, but those very lightweight jeans materials and things like that. That's more on the medium size. And then you come down to the 100 and the 110, and those are really geared towards the type of heavier fabrics, and the higher the number gets, the heavier fabric you can work with that particular needle size. All right, now that's it for the sizes. Now let's focus on the different types of needles it has. There is the universal, the ballpoint, the Microtex, there is the jeans. I also have one for felt and crafting fabrics, and I also have one dedicated to jersey fabric and the spandex fabric, but I can't seem to find those, but I'm still going to mention them. Now earlier when I was talking about the sizes, this is what I meant. Now this is a packet of ballpoint needles. This is a packet of 80-11. So each of these needles is 80-11 in size. And 80-11 will be for our lightweight fabrics, all right, as we mentioned earlier. And the ballpoint, what makes it different is that the tip is rounded, so it's easier to use on that sort of stretchy type fabric like your jerseys and your spandex and knits like that has stretch to it. The ballpoint works pretty well with those stretched light fabrics, all right? Then we have the Microtex. This packet comes in different sizes. Each needle is a different size. So here I have a 68, 79, and a 8011. Each of the needle has a different size. Now the Microtex is really like the ballpoint. All right, it works with very lightweight fabric as well, and it also has a slight rounded tip, so it doesn't snag at those lightweight materials. And again, you can use these for a lot of the very delicate type of stretchy fabrics as well. After that, we have the Universal. Now the Universal, you can really use these on any type of fabric, to be very honest. You can use the Universal needles on any type of fabric. Once the Universal needle is the right size for the fabric you are using in your project. So for example, this packet of Universal needles is a 8012. So these needles will work well with the lightweight fabrics like the cottons and the wools and things like that. This will work very well with it. Only those, because it's an 8012. But you can pick up a packet of Universal needles at a different size, a little higher. So this one is a 9014. So I can use these Universal needles on jeans fabrics, and not the heavy denim. I'm talking about the lightweight jeans that has that slight stretch to it. This 9014 will work pretty well with that sort of jeans fabric. Here I have a Universal packet as well. Now this packet is a mixture of Universal and ballpoint. But if you look on the Universal side, you will notice that I have each needle at a different size. So I could always go to this packet and take the relevant needle for the fabric I'm using in that particular project. So for example, here in the Universal, I have a 8011, I have a 9014, and I have a 116. So I can use this 116 needle for that heavy denim fabric, and I can also use it for my leatherette materials when I'm doing my bags and things like that. So you can also purchase Universal packets that has an array of sizes with the needles. The same goes for the ballpoint and the Microtex. Now I love working with jeans, so I always make jeans needles a part of my sewing kits. All right, so this packet is 116, so this works with my lightweight jeans fabrics, and this one is an array of sizes, and it goes from 9014 all the way to 11018. So I could use the 11018 jeans for those really heavy denim materials that I work with as well. Now, because I do a lot of home decor and I use a lot of crafting materials like felt, and I may also use some upholstery fabrics and things like that, I purchased myself a crafting packet of needles. All right, and again, it comes in an array of sizes. This one goes from 8012 all the way to 9014. So I can always go from lightweight all the way to medium or heavyweight fabric when I'm doing my home decor projects. All right, the other type of needle it has is the jersey, and there's also a stretch fabric needle. So you have one specifically for jersey fabrics, and then there's one where you can dedicate it solely to spandex fabric. It is literally written on it. So just like how this one marks jeans, there are those that have jersey fabric or jersey stretch, and there are those that has the spandex stretch written on the needle packets. So that's it for the different types of needles. Now let's move on to the different stitches. Let's talk stitches. All right, and this part is going to be very quick. Why? Because really and truly, the only stitches you need to focus on is the straight stitch and the zigzag stitch. The only time you start leaning on the other stitches on your machine is if you are doing buttonholes or you're doing a lot of home decor crafting, such as, you know, you might do a little embroidery something, or you may be working on curtains or pillowcases and you want to do a particular pattern or design, then you start leaning on the other stitches. But the most commonly used stitches is the straight stitch and the zigzag stitch. Now the straight stitch is used in almost every single project you do sewing wise. The only time you don't use the straight stitch is when you're working with stretchy fabrics and elastic. That's where the zigzag stitch comes in. The zigzag stitch works very well with stretchy fabric and elastic. What the zigzag stitch does is prevent the thread from snapping. Because remember, when the material or the elastic stretches, it's going to expand, and that means you need a stitch that would expand with the fabric or the elastic. If you use a straight stitch with any project using stretchy material or elastic, once that expands, that straight stitch is going to snap. And when it snaps, everything is just going to start falling apart and looking all lopsided and clumsy and probably just expose you. So you don't use straight stitch for any stretchy material or elastic. I also use the zigzag stitch for closing off my edges and keeping them from fraying. Now there is an interlocking stitch on my sewing machine. I don't really use it. I always just stick with my zigzag and it has been working for me, but there is an interlocking stitch on your sewing machine. Now really there is the serger that deals with interlocking, and the serger not only interlocks your edges, it also cuts it for it to be nice, straight and neat and give you that oh so professional look. But if you're like me and don't have a serger, and if you're now starting your sewing journey, most likely you're not gonna have a serger, so keep in mind you can lock off your edges and keep them from fraying depending on the material with that zigzag stitch or that interlocking style stitch on your sewing machine. In episode 3, I'm actually going to get into all these stitches and show you guys how each of these stitches look and how they work with the different types of fabric. So I really hope this video helps you to understand the different needles and the stitches that you really work with when it comes to sewing. So guys, until next time, deuces.